What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And with fantasy football season coming to an end, Dynasty managers are getting ready for their rookie drafts, getting ready for the offseason prep. And so what we're going to bring you today, we're going to bring you a 2023 rookie mock draft, 4 rounds. We're going to go player tiers, player spotlight, some sleepers, and some guys that look at it every single round and keep your eye on as they go to the Shrine Bowl. And, when you're looking at the East-West Bowl and the Senior Bowl and just trying to figure out, hey, where are these guys going to compete? Where are these guys at? We're going to be breaking it down for you on this channel here after the intro. So hit that like and subscribe button, and then we'll dive right into it. All right, let's get into it. Like I said, we're going to be talking about this. And as we go through here, we're going to be going over like I said, all 4 rounds. We're going to dive into it. So let's get into it. So here's the first round. And we took about 12 analysts and fans of the game and great Dynasty managers for this mock. So, I was a big fan of what they were able to do. So at the 101, we have Bijan Robinson. And that's pretty much, cut and clear what we've seen from the last, mocks and mocks and mocks. Bijan seems to be that 101 guy that's going to be stepping forward. After that, we have Bryce Young, CJ Stroud there at the 102, 103, and then Jahmyr Gibbs at 104. Anthony Richardson jumps into the 105. Now, we're going to spotlight him here in a second, but hey, this is the talent that Richardson has. When we're talking about hey, if he gets first-round draft capital, you're thinking top 5, which is going to make this class better. So the one thing that people are kind of hating on right now with this class is hey, it's not talented. Oh, there's Bijan. Now I'm kind of worried who's going to be there. Listen, we don't know the draft capital yet, but right now, Anthony Richardson looks like he's getting first-round draft capital. If he does, that's just going to push players down, good players like JSN right there at the 106, and it's going to make this class even more valuable, whether you want to trade the pick, whether you want to use the pick, right? So that's what we have to love to see, and that's what you like to see there. And then we got JSN rounded out the top 6, and that's pretty much across the board besides Anthony Richardson. We haven't seen Anthony Richardson that high, but again, it's talent. If one guy falls in love with him, you're going to see it, right? Now, to round out the rest of the first round, we have Quentin Johnston there at TCU wide receiver, Jordan Addison at 108, Zach Charbonnet at the 109 at UCLA. So we haven't seen that either, but jumping up in there, I think Charbonnet is going to be a sleeper right now. He's getting mocked at all kinds of fun places. Day 2 kid right now, and Miami Dolphins is a pretty common mock for him. Man, if he lands on that Miami Dolphins scheme, he could easily go in the 109, 110 mark, right? Then you got Keyshawn Boutte at the 110. That's a value pick. He's coming back. What is he going to be like? In a recent mock for football guys, I had him going to the Bills. If he does that, he's probably going to go higher than this. So when you look at where he's going to be, he's a complete wild card. So to me, him and Richardson are wild cards in this because what are they, right? Keyshawn's coming out after some weird kind of stories coming out of LSU. Then you have Will Levis at the 111, and 112 is Michael Mayer. And I think Michael Mayer is more of the safe pick. I picked that pick just based on value who was there. But then you have Will Levis at the 111. Again, if he gets draft capital, what you end up seeing here is you're going to see the running backs get pushed down because you see there, when you're looking at just who got drafted as the running backs go, Jahmyr goes, Bijan goes, then you have Charbonnet, and you don't have any of those other running backs that we know is in this draft. So you're looking at, again, that late round first, early second to mid second is going to be running backs galore. And that's what we're going to get into. But I do want to player spotlight somebody in this one. And you know what? That's Anthony Richardson. I mean, when you're looking at what he's doing, and I wanted to give you guys kind of an highlight, he's expected late first draft capital. So here are some recent mocks of where he's gone. So this is since there's been tons of mocks going out there from everybody, but since, January 12th. So, when we're recording this, January 12th, where it's at. So here's where he's going. 16 to Washington, 9 to the Panthers, 7 to the Raiders, 9 to the Panthers again, 20 to the Seahawks, 15 to Green Bay, 7 to the Panthers again, or excuse me, the Raiders. So when you're looking at that, he's not falling out of the first round in any mocks in the last, I don't know, almost 2 weeks. So you're expecting him to get in there, right? We know what he can do. We know his upside. We know his dual threat ability. We know that from a rushing standpoint. If he does get that, everybody, he's going to find himself in the first round. That's just a guarantee, right? So if he gets in there and he's going to get in there, he's going to be a top 10 pick in your rookie drafts. If he gets in that first round of that draft capital, you're going to love to see that. Now, let's talk about tiers. So here's our first round tiers and where it comes from. And just in general, where I think, if you have rookie picks right now, where your tiers are at. So for me, it's the 101 and the 103. So first off, when you're looking at the 101, the 103, that is where you get Bijan, Bryce, and CJ. Now, some people say it's 101, tier in 102, 103. I don't see it that way, especially in super flex, right? If this is a super flex league, it's running back, it's quarterback, and then I feel like there's a tier just because of value, perceived value, built-in value, all of that value, right? Then I have the 104 to 109. And the reason why I have that is because you're looking really at Gibbs, Richardson's, JSN, and then you have Johnson, Addison, and then whoever you want to put at the 109, whether that's Charbonnet, whether that's Kendrick Miller if he comes out, whether it's Keyshawn Boutte, whoever you want to put there, I feel like there's a tier. And then it's 109 to 112. And the reason why, when you're looking at 110 to 112, when you look at that, there's some wild cards there. Do you take Michael Mayer? Do you take Levis at the background of the first? Do you take Keyshawn, that value pick there? Or where does it go? So right now, I feel like if you're, depending on where you're at, like I don't hate going back there, but I wouldn't go too far. Like if you're going to trade back from the 101, I get these questions, get to that 104, 105 mark, right? Like be careful with how you trade back because there are some clear tiers in this tier area. But I don't necessarily think that there's a massive tier break between 104 and 109. It just kind of depends on what your profile is for like a running back. If you think Gibbs is too small, you're going to not think there's a tier, right? So that's just kind of how it looks. Now let's dive into the second round. Let's look at a second round look. So you have Josh Downs going in the second round, which I think could be a value, right? In our last mock that we had Josh Downs going to the Chargers. So again, you going with Herbert, might bump him up into the late first. Then you got Zach Evans from Ole Miss, who I think is uber talented, but he's got some questionable holes in his tape. And so I think there's some people a little bit concerned with that. Sean Tucker, again, talented, got some questions with his tape a little bit. Zay going at 204. Then you have Rashee Rice, wide receiver at SMU, going at 205. And then Kendrick Miller at 206. Yet to declare, but, when you're looking at what he has, at the time of this video getting released, he might have declared, but just value and talent, right? When you're looking at that board, then you see the running backs. So you see, again, 3 running backs, some wide receivers go off the board. Then in the second round, in the 207 mark, you have Tank Bigsby, who's going to be a value at 207. If you can get Tank Bigsby at 207, I think that's going to be a value moving forward. Jalen Hyatt, 208, probably a value because he's getting first round draft capital buzz. Israel Bonaconda, again, value there. Devin Achane, again, value there, right? So there's all the running backs. Deuce Vaughn, little guy. If you believe in that talent, you're going to go that 211. And you got Cedric Tillman, Tennessee wide receiver, 6'3", 215. I think he's a pretty good value there too. So when you're looking at this, and we're going to spotlight a guy, Zay Flowers is the guy I'm going to spotlight. I'm a big fan of Zay. I've been a big fan of Zay for 3 years. I've highlighted him, profiled him. Christian just did a video on the YouTube channel. You should check that out about Zay, what he's going for, what his comp is, all of that. You see the numbers on the board and what he's been able to do. He's produced, gotten better each year. Obviously his junior year is a little banged up, but this last year he came out 78 catches, 1,000 yards. He's getting mocked right now, projected the second round, but hey, he's been mocked recently in the first round. I saw him go to Seattle. You're looking at the Vikings, the Chargers as well. Maybe they take a shot on him. Not Downs, right? The Chiefs maybe grab him. Maybe they make him, or excuse me, the Bills grab him. Maybe they make him the slot. Right? I've seen the Chiefs a couple times as well. So, hey, where is he going to go? Second round, probably. So if you can get him on a good value, where is he at? And then you get him in the second round. I'm all aboard that train. I think that's a great value there. Now, I do want to go through second round values real quick from what I see. And I know I already kind of mentioned a few. To me, if Zach Evans goes to the second round, I think he's got first round talent with second round problems, right? Like, hey, but he irons that out as you go. You're probably going to see him get bumped up a bit. But if you can get Zach Evans in that second round, I think that's a good value. If Josh Downs find himself a role somewhere where you really like him, and there, Zay, I think, is a value like I talked about. And then to me, there's 2 big ones on this board, and then there's question marks. But Tank Bigsby is a value at 207, and then Devin Achane from Texas A&M. I know he's 5'9", 185. I know some people have comped him to Jamal Charles just based on speed and not necessarily size. Like, if that's the case, then 210 for a guy that may find himself on like the Cardinals or a pass catching option in there, and then maybe between the tackles, kind of be that scat back and maybe being a PPR option. I think that second round's pretty good. And then when talking about values here, you're talking about running backs. Just fill in the running backs, plug and play guys that are going to take dynasty value throughout there, right? Now, let's jump over to the third round. Let's take a look what happened here. DeWayne McBride, Tajay Spears. So you're looking at 2 guys right off the bat, like, non-power 5 running backs getting taken there. Then you got Chase Brown, Illinois running back, Marvin Mims, who declared, Dalton Kincaid from Utah. Then you got Dontavian Wicks, then Rashawn Johnson, who I think is a sleeper in this one. Then you're looking at Kenny McIntosh from Georgia. Hey, he's going to come out. He's looked very good at Georgia. Xavier Hutchinson, yes, he's an older prospect, but he's produced at Iowa State. Raheem Jarrett is a value and a hell of a risk here. Raheem's going off of 2 games his freshman year and then just straight up athleticism. So I think that's an interesting area of where you're going to get late in the third. Then you have Parker Washington. If he comes out, there's still question marks there. And then Eric Gray. I think Eric Gray at 312, I think that's a heck of a value. So when we're looking at third round sleepers here, so let's take a look. you're looking at some guys in here that have some value. I think the tight end class, again, this was tight end premium. I think there's value to be had in there. I think Spears, who we're going to highlight here in a second, is a hell of a player. But if you can get a guy like Eric Gray, who actually turned it around this year for Oklahoma, looked really, really good, I think that's where you go. Now let's do a player spotlight here. Tajay has been really good. Expected draft capital is the 5th round. So when we're thinking of where he's at, he's been back and forth. So I looked up his draft capital based on mock draft database. Round 7, round 4, he's been all over the board. So like for me, like when you're looking at what he's been able to do, I think he's a very skilled runner. I know he's a smaller guy. I know that he's not a Power 5 guy. I know he's a 4th-year back coming out of there. But damn it, there's some things that he does well. He makes guys miss. He gets out in open space. I think he catch really well. Me and Jay Stein did an analytical profile on him, and we highlighted the things that he does well. I think he's going to be one of those guys that we're going to be looking at. Like he's getting some buzz now, right? So if he continues to get that buzz, he's going to the Senior Bowl. That's when you're going to start seeing him kind of get bumped up a little bit. And I love that Spears has that value there, right? And we're not talking about a small guy. He's not too small. You're not talking about, Vaughn and these other guys. All right, 4th round, let's jump into it, and then we'll get you out of here. So we got Darnell Washington, who I don't think is going to go in the 4th round once he gets like 1st-round draft capital, like some people are talking about. Keaton Mitchell is there, Tanner McKee, Hendon Hooker, Mohamed Ibrahim, Chris Rodriguez, Rome Adunze. As you go through here, Andrea Lesvias, I think is how you say his name. Nah, just butchered that. Just destroy me in the comments. Go ahead. Luke Musgrave there, then Sam Laporta, then you got Evan Hull, and then Puka Nacua, who I really like. So I'm going to highlight him real quick. I think Puka is going to be one of those guys that we really like as we go forward. He's been banged up. He hadn't had those games that you like to see, but I think he's a true athlete out there. 6'2", 205, not a small guy. Right now, draft capital, 6th, 7th round, depending on where you're at, but he's going to the Senior Bowl. Where's he going to test? Where's he going to measure? I think those are the question marks that we have with him. But if he can go out there, I think he's one of the best pure pass catchers of this class. He can catch the ball every time it's thrown to him. Like he has legit hands. He was one of the highest producing players in high school. He went to BYU, really produced well, looked good in the rushing attack. Like I think he's a sleeper that people should know. You like Christian Watson, you like these guys. Puka could be that guy going forward. You got to see him. You got to know where he's at out there. So that is our mock draft. I'm just going to go through it real quick, what you have for each round so that you can kind of take a look again. 2nd round, 3rd round, and then finally, the 4th round. And shout out to Octavian Wicks in the 3rd round. I can't do it without you giving me a little shout out. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. That's the rookie draft right now where we have them. We're going to have much more rookie content on here on this channel and on other platforms that we do. If you don't check out our podcast, please check it out. College Football show on Football Guys. Go check that out. We're going to be diving into all kinds of more rookies. So if you like that long form medium, come find us over there. If not, hit that like and subscribe button right now. Let us know how we're doing. Leave a comment, man. I'm getting lonely out here. Leave me some comments. Tell us about what you think of the draft. Who is a value? Would you take Anthony Richardson that high, right? Like, come on. Don't leave me hanging down there. Give me some comments. I'll comment back, and we'll get in a nice little discourse. So I appreciate you guys. I will check you guys next time.